right, so welcome to another wonderful episode of Sports Extra. It has been an absolute breeze. We're coming to the end of the year. One more episode, Ashley, before we shut things down. And that episode, we want to go out with a big bang. A big one. And hopefully we'll be able to get Mr. Temba Muliswa, who is also a ZIFA Presidential candidate. He's vying to become the next ZIFA president.
All the candidates watching this, if you feel you want to come and plead your case with us, we've got the platform, come through.
Oh yeah, you definitely have to come through. So the likes of Mobile Magwizi, Philemon Machana, Martin Kweza, all of you guys, you are invited. And of course, if verified, Prophet Walter Magaya, because we know there are issues around that.
What do Peter do?
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But in any case, we've got quite a number of things to be talking about today. First and foremost, our cricket. Things are quite tight there. We're in a series against Afghanistan. Yesterday's match washed out. We're going to be talking more around that, and obviously the ZIFA presidential race, what it's looking like with the likes of Philemon Machana, and looking at the background of the likes of Mobile Magwizi, and just trying to have a feel of what some of our candidates are like. And then of course we're going to talk about the Manchester Derby. As you can see, man, came out of the pillow. It had to. And so we're going to be talking a little bit more about that. So stay tuned to Sports Extra. Ashley, has been a bit of a torrid time. Last time you came through, we were getting into the Pakistan series. We got into it.
We came out of it badly.
That is And then we went into the T20 series, Afghanistan. We lost 2-1, having taken an early lead. And now we're in the ODI series. The first one was supposed to be played yesterday, but that was washed out. We've now got, incessant rain, which is going to be coming up over the next couple of days here in Zimbabwe. So so the likelihood of us actually getting any of the ODIs done and dusted, I'm not so sure is going to be possible. But Ashley, let's dig in. By the time the game was then abandoned, Zimbabwe had been given the opportunity to bat first. We were going to play a 28 over game, and we were 44 for 5 after 9.2 overs.
That's the upload task. See, we lack the quality. We've got players, but we're lacking depth. Not only in player numbers, but in player quality. They get to a point where shot selection is limited to 2-3 shots. They don't know how to adjust to a bowler. These are subcontinent bowlers. They bring a bit of pace. They have a lot of spin. We're struggling to adjust. And one over you've got a spin bowler, one over you've got a pace bowler. They get confused. You've got people that play quality rugby, the Razas, the Evans, and all those guys. But when it comes to playing for our national team, there is that huge gap where there is no one to look at. Who's going to carry the team? Who are the 2-3 people that you can look at and say, okay, these are the quality players that when push comes to shove, okay, they'll hold maybe an 80 wicket. We don't. We lack that. I don't know if it's the training, but I think from our grassroots, we are lacking the depth that we need. We do not have a lot of first-class cricket, or maybe test cricket material. Might have first class being played locally, but playing your peers, Mountaineers, Takashinga, your Tuskers, then facing Shaheen is a different kettle of fish. We need to bleed the boys out then before you present them.
100%. And look, I think you're asking pertinent questions. Is it the practice? Is it maybe? And I've got quite a number of things, and a list of things that I feel are a bit of the problem. And I think it's an all-encompassing, a holistic problem that we actually do have. And I want to start from our players. Now, our players, yes, they are lacking quality, but they're lacking quality. Some of it is actually really poor decision making. So for example, down in Bulawayo, and now obviously having looked at the dimensions of both fields, Queen's Sports Club and Harare Sports Club, just in case you didn't know, Queen's Sports Club is much bigger than Harare Sports Club. If you're going to be hitting a 6 downtown, which is obviously straight over the bowler's head, you're looking at somewhere within the region of 75 meters and beyond. Here at Harare Sports Club, with 75 meters, well, you would have actually gone 5 meters or so, or even 6 meters beyond the boundary line. So that would actually be in Centurion, we would say. But now, here, this is where the boundary line is. If you're looking at your square boundaries, if you're going to be going for a pull shot, you're looking at around about the same dimensions as well, around about 76 to 77 meters, there and thereabouts. Here at Harare Sports Club, if you get the shorter side of the boundary, maybe you're looking at around about 68, 65 meters. So that extra 5 or so meters makes a whole world of difference. What I would have loved to have seen is the rotation of strike from our batters. If the game becomes different, you've now got more spinners that are taking place. We're now looking for gaps. Let's find the gaps, pick up the twos, and so on. Our players are not used to grinding a result, Ashley, and that also comes now to our technical team. So what is our technical team now beginning to communicate within the practice sessions, and what are you beginning to work on? What I would have loved to see, maybe, and hopefully that is something that they were working on and maybe wasn't followed on, but go into the nets and say, okay guys, right now what we want to focus on, want you to focus on sweep shots, want you to focus on placing the ball in the gaps, going onto the center wicket, even in a practice session, and now saying we want to play the ball into the gaps. We're going to pack the offside field, but we want you to find the gap. We're going to get you to try and manipulate the ball onto the leg side, even though it's coming onto your off stump. These are some of the things that you would want to see the analyst, the coach, and the batting coach being able to communicate. So I think these things actually, unfortunately, are lacking. And then finally going to right on top of the ladder, I think I'll then give this to the convener of selectors, which would represent more of the admin side of things, because they're the ones that select the side. I would feel that this issue of throwing kids into the deep end is not going to work. Zimbabwe A needs to be revived, which is obviously your second string side. That needs to be revived and needs to be sent on tour. Right now, Dion Myers is too young to be opening the batting or to be in the number 3 slot for Zimbabwe. He should be captaining the Zimbabwe A side. They should be going on a tour to play Pakistan A, Sri Lanka A, Australia A, England A, West Indies A, South Africa A. If even more, get the Zimbabwe A side and put them in the provincial competition in South Africa to play there. Yes, most probably for your first 2-3 years they are going to be slaughtered, but they'll get it. They'll get it, and they'll grow. So these are some of my thoughts, Ashley, which I think are the serious challenge.
Listen, I agree with you. And also would like to bring a different dimension to this. Player development is crucial. I'll give you an example of someone that the world was watching for the last 2-3 years, Tristan Stubbs. He was good playing in the IPL, appeared out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere. Did well for the under 19, but he does not have the same guaranteed jersey that you find a young Dion Myers getting in Zimbabwe. He has to earn his stripes. He's been put out there. Player development is not like keep playing first class cricket. They put him out there. Played on in all types of conditions. He's been to county cricket, he's been to the subcontinent, he's played IPL, he's played in Pakistan. He gets that exposure, he gets to experience. He's done well there, he doesn't do well, he knows his strengths, he knows his weaknesses. And you now see that, okay, he's missing 1, 2, 3. When it comes to national team, we adjust this way, and we use him this way. We are lacking that. We have an overnight sensation. 19-year-old is tossed into the national team, struggles, confidence takes a massive dip. There is no way of bringing him back to where you saw him and taking him further higher where you perceived him to be able to go. He's now stuck in a rut where he faced serious competition and felt that he was out of his depth. Another example is Kwena Mapaka. brilliant. He's got pace. I think he's got the first ball this year. But they're not gonna. They didn't. They played him. He got slaughtered at the World Cup. They pulled him out. They pulled him out. Developed him. His entire being. Told him, okay, it happens. You need to adjust. Right now, he's going to face a different. Right now, they're playing Sri Lanka, right?
It's Pakistan.
They're playing Pakistan. He just played Pakistan. Good show, but they know that he's not ready for a white jersey right now. Our team is anyone who does
decent.
A slight flare on the radar. He's taken and put up as a star, and then when he fades, it's a big gap for the system. Instead of developing them into the bright stars that they can be, we are rushing the process. Let's build them up slowly, gradually, until they get to a point where they are the players that we want them to be.
100%. And obviously that tosses us straight into the other part of this discussion as we're wrapping things up on this one. Ben Curran obviously being handed his debut cap, as well as Newman Nyamuri as well. And obviously that sounds good. That sounds great. Ben Curran, I think, has proved himself with the numbers on the domestic scene, both in the Logan Cup, the 50 over or the Pro 50 Championship. He has done well, and that's good. It's a deserved call up, and hopefully some of his county experience will show. Yesterday, a sign here or there, but wasn't able to go past about 15 runs. As you know, we were trying to be a bit more aggressive, considering that we had 28 overs. And then, of course, Newman Nyamuri, he comes in fresh from the Under-19 Cricket World Cup. He was the top wicket taker for Zimbabwe, picked up 8 wickets, put up a very decent performance, left arm seamer, and pretty good. But your general thoughts on their inclusions?
Like I said before, it's a good time to test them. For Ben Curran, who's been playing county, I would have loved to see Nyamuri go to county, go to maybe the Big Bash, or play a couple of games in South Africa. Four day, play a couple of ODIs for Zim A. Then we can say we've got a finished product. Now we're testing our product on the market. So if he is destroyed by 1 or 2 batsmen, we're going to have to do more work. The work that I was telling you about, that if somebody's confidence is knocked down, bringing them back to where you found them, and then taking them higher becomes a bigger task. Let's bring them up, then they can face the Goliaths, knowing that they have the stone in the sling. If you send them out there with the sling and no stone, it's going to be a challenge as well.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And considering that Newman Nyamuri, he went to St. Charles College down in South Africa, a very good cricketing school, and obviously we saw him demonstrating his skills at the Under-19 World Cup. But Under-19 and international cricket are 2 different kettle of fish. And just to quickly give a couple of examples before we wrap it up, Jacob Bethel, who's now playing for England and giving some selection headaches in terms of batting. Guess what? Jacob Bethel played in the same World Cup as Dion Myers. But look at their development pathways. That's totally different. Look at what has happened now to Wesley Madevere. We're struggling to get the best out of him again. That shining light which he came onto the scene with, we can't seem to rekindle that. We've got Jason Fraser McGurk. He is now part of the Australian side. He played in the same Under-19 World Cup with Tadiwa Nashemarumani as well as Wesley Madevere. But look at their development pathways right now. It's different. So this is my appeal, our appeal. Zimbabwe Cricket, the development pathway has to be put back in place. Yes, we understand an NPL is there, a Pro 50 Championship is there, a Logan Cup is there, a Vine Cup is there, and Zimbabwe is now playing a lot more cricket than it was in more recent years. That is great and commendable from Zimbabwe Cricket, but we have to bring back a Zimbabwe a President's 11 that we can send on tour, that we can expose, that we can keep in an alignment camp of sorts, that can help them to take that next step up into what we would then say is international cricket.
So let me give you, I agree with you. Let me just highlight a point. If you look at Fraser McGurk and Wesley Madevere, Fraser McGurk is only trying to break into the Australian national team. Madevere has been sitting in the national team, struggling. The bit of development that McGurk has enjoyed, he didn't enjoy it. He was forced into the tough sport immediately because of the flair that he showed that he can do something. We need to get them to where the light shines for 24 hours, not like flickers for 2 seconds and it's gone. We will struggle with having complete cricket players. We'll always have a guy whose average is a 20, 25. For example, right now, you can all see Themba Bavuma. He is now the actual captain. He's now the captain that carries the team.
Yeah,
it's taken time, but he's gotten there. They knew what they had in him, and at some point they pulled him out and brought him back in.
Yeah,
go develop and come back. We don't do that. We keep guys in the setup, and they keep struggling.
Oh yeah, and hopefully that will be the case. Well, obviously, this one has been our main discussion topic for the first one. We're going to take a short break. When we do come back, we're talking about ZIFA. The presidential race is hot, and it's happening.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about ZIFA right now. Welcome back to Sports Extra. Once again, don't forget to like, to share, to comment, to subscribe on all of our social media platforms. We're available on all of them, whether you're talking about Facebook, Instagram, on X, on TikTok, as well as having a WhatsApp channel. So, of course, we will continue to share all of the links of those. You can make sure you can go, particularly on our Facebook page. That's where most of our links are, to be able to access some of the content on the other platforms. So join us in that particular journey as we talk sport, and make sure that you comment. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to take your thoughts up to even the highest authorities in the land that we get to speak to on what you think should be happening in terms of the sports topics we're discussing. Let's talk about ZIFA right now. ZIFA is the topical thing in terms of the sporting world in Zimbabwe. A presidential race is coming up. End of January, I believe, is when the elections are going to be happening. The candidates that said they are desiring to be in it, they are there. They've put in their papers. Of course, a couple have been asked to hold on, like Prophet Walter Magaya, pending a case that is more civil, which we obviously cannot discuss, as there are allegations and so on and so forth against him. And so his papers have been put on hold or in limbo. But we do have others who have been approved, the likes of Ngobile Magwizi, the likes of Martin Kweza, Philemon Machana seems to also be in the same boat that Prophet Walter Magaya is in. And then you've also got the very controversial but interesting Mr. Themba Muliswa, who we're hoping to have on the show next week. Let's talk about Ngobile Magwizi as well as Philemon Machana, and in terms of some of the stuff that they are being touted for. I know Ngobile Magwizi seems to be a front runner at the moment. He seems to be the part. He's got a lovely little photo of him that was posted wearing a good suit, looking prim and proper, and things like that. Your general thoughts on him?
Okay, I will not single out anyone.
Yeah.
See, as media, there's never been an outright pitch on what any of these candidates intend to bring to football, to Zimbabwean football. We've had controversial characters sitting in that chair. I think for the past 2 decades, you've always had somebody dramatic, awesome, full of flair, your Philip Chiangos, your Kapedures, and what's his name, the most recent one?
Your Felton Kamamos. Yeah.
The decline of Zimbabwean football rests with them. So now you're looking at, what's the story? You all want this. To do what? It might sound prestigious, like Philip Chiango wanted the prestige and then the power that came with being the
pomp and the fanfare.
Yeah, it all came with the traveling, meeting the Eto'os and whatnot, going to the World Cup and everything. But of what value do they bring to the sport? Of what value should the general public expect and hold them accountable for? The challenge is, there are no checks and balances. There is nothing to hold them to account for. What exactly do you want to do apart from having the title? You have the title, Okay, what work are we supposed to hold you? Okay, you said you can do this. These are the general challenges of Zimbabwe. We have a depressed economy. We have a challenging social environment. What are your points? How are you going to develop football within that setup, within the environment you're in? At the end of the day, we will get stories of the economy is bad, but we already know you are vying to be president in a bad economy. Then when you fail or things don't go according to plan,
the economy is bad.
But here's the thing, we don't know what the plan is. Everybody hasn't outlined it. So far, all the battles have been around character. It's all about character assassination rather than what am I going to bring?
Well, one of the things as well that I would want to just quickly jump onto that is just saying it seems like everyone that has come particularly before has concentrated on warriors. Whilst that might be the centerpiece, so to speak, of the football, but the centerpiece isn't the entire machinery. The machinery, we're talking about junior football, we're talking about women's football, which has now become a big thing, which we're not tapping into, which Zimbabwe has got a higher chance of qualifying for both regional and international tournaments as compared to the men's side. And with better investments, with a better league and so on, you would feel that women would be able to achieve. They are the first ones anyway to have gone to an international tournament amongst all of our teams. They went to the Olympics and we treated them like rubbish by giving them $5 when they came back. Our warriors, the moment they qualify for Africa Cup of Nations,
they haven't even gone. They haven't even participated.
We've given them money, we've given them this. There's money coming from all directions, from Wicknell Jivayo and Honorable Scott Safwanya, 250,000 and so on. And then of course they were very blessed to have gone to His Excellency's residence at the State House and they got 6.5 each. Great. And we're thankful that he has rewarded them for that. But now the question is, what are we doing as ZIFA now to ensure they are prepared for AFCON so that we don't just go there and exit the group stage like we have always done? What are we looking to do in order to get into the round of 16 and proceed even further? Our junior football, we went to COSAFA. Our under-17 side looked pretty decent, but they were found out because of a lack of exposure once again. That was both our girls as well as our boys. There's an under-17 World Cup to try and qualify for, an under-17 AFCON to try and qualify for both girls.
Have you ever gone to the Youth Olympics?
My friend.
You are asking for too much.
You're asking for far too much. We've got five-a-side football, which is there. We've now also got beach football, which has now become a thing, and that falls under ZIFA. So we're hoping that all of these candidates can be able to come in and say, look, FIFA, this is what we want to develop. We've got places that we want to put up the infrastructure. We've got places that we want to go ahead.
They need to talk to us, the people. We will come and watch the football. Right now, under-17 football is basically a couple of games in school. Then you end up with a team that has come out of nowhere. Back in the day, you knew, by the time the likes of the late Norman Naruto, by the time they were under 21s, under 23s, you knew them from club because there was that development pathway. Thanks to Bambo. You did a great thing with the kids in the thing.
With the kids in the thing.
It forced Dynamos to develop kids. Even forced Capes United, Highlanders and them to look at it and say, okay, this works. But somehow that bit of development was then left back. It wasn't developed in its entirety. Okay, how do we keep this thing going? It worked for us. It gave us, junior development did not start with Norman Naruto. If you remember, Peter Ndlovu played for Highlanders when he was around 16, 17.
Yes, and he was coming from Zimbabwe.
So you can see that there was an idea that was abandoned for, I think only God knows what the reason, that understanding was of killing those little things. Individual players are trying to develop these tournaments, these high school tournaments, these youth tournaments. You've got the marvelous Nakamba tournament. I think the Peter Ndlovu tournament is always there. A few other players, but they're isolated in their pockets. Their pockets, maybe 2 or 3 in one region, other regions we need to get the full development going everywhere.
Which is simple. The structures are actually there if they revive them, because we had the ZIFA youth leagues then, and those ZIFA youth leagues then would put all of these schools into zones, and through those zones you'd be able to say, okay, if I go to the northern zone, I'll be able to see these schools because these are the prime schools in that particular zone, and they were put in their particular tiers, which is how we got, as you said, that kids in a team which was basically picked out of Churchill High School and went and thrust into Dynamos and became an absolute success. And you go even to the Prince Edwards, which were able to pick up the Alois Bunjiras, the Stuart Murisas, Tostawa Kwashi, even Tondela Indiraya as well himself is a product of that. Desmond Maringwa, was he a free boy or he came out of a different setup?
I think he came out of
a different setup. But you can see how that was working its way through. So they would go and play their school matches midweek, and over the weekend they are playing in the ZIFA Youth League, or they are playing for the club setups that they were now involved in. So they were playing football regularly, they were developing, and they were becoming stars. For Stuart Murisa to have been called Shuto, for Alois Bunjira to have been called Crisscross, it was because they had developed to a high level and a high extent whilst still in their younger years. And so this is what we place out to you as ZIFA presidential candidates, ZIFA committee members, ZIFA councillors who are also going to be voting in the presidents. Think about these things. We need to revive this. We are now becoming a laughing stock, particularly in the SADC region. Botswana is playing better football than us. Our girls got beaten by Botswana. Mozambique is playing better football than us. Angola hatina kana donayo. South Africa ngati nyarare. Namibia were even struggling to beat them. We struggled to beat them at under 17 level. We drew 4-4 with them.
I remember the days of Rosemary Ngada. Zimbabwe would thrash every team. Look at South Africa being thrashed 9-10 by the mighty Warriors. But now, tables of 10.
Tables of 10.
We've been stuck in that era where we think we're good. What's not does it developing? We've stopped our development because, hey, we've hit the ceiling. But then the ceiling is there to break. When others go through the ceiling, we're sitting there and saying, we've made it.
Yep.
So we need to get that back. Let's get the teams playing more. Let's be proud of winning the under 17, under 19, under 20s, under 23. Do we still have an under 23 team?
As I said, you're asking for what? But look, I have got an issue with the under 23 one as we wrap this up, and this may be a different discussion point that you can come on in. I don't think there's a necessity for an under 23 side, and here's my reason why. As we've seen how football has developed over the years, now we're finding Lamine Yamal, who's 17 right now, has already broken into the Barcelona setup. Jamal Musiala broke into the Barcelona Bayern Munich, setup at the age of around about 18. Already he's now got 2 or so years playing in that particular setup. He's also playing for his national team, by the way, as well. If we come back to Manchester United, Marcus Rashford broke in to that United setup at the age of 19, I believe. Bukayo Saka into the Arsenal setup, and the list is endless. So I feel if you have not hit the mark by the time you reach 20, or by the time you reach the under 20 side, yes, we know when you go to the Olympics, they're saying an under 23 side. But if you look at the bulk of the players that will be playing there, 20, 21, 19, and so on. So we have to be able to develop our players. By the time they get to 19, 20, they should be hitting the mark and hitting the high points, and actually playing for the first teams of their own clubs. But anyway, that's my thought. That's my
Sorry, I just had a funny thought. So all these age groups, we have a school team playing in their Premier League. Do they have those systems in place? You've got a whole school being represented in the league. Not an attack, just asking out of curiosity. Do we have Herentals under 17?
Herentals under 20s, yes. Rentals under 17, I'm not so sure. I would say maybe they exist within their schools.
But I think if they put them out there, if they use that system as a micro system within their club, they can actually develop a club where a team that other teams can buy players from. because they have the whole chain.
Great. Well, that's an idea. Dr. Innocent Benza, yeah, and maybe you could just deposit $1,000 to the Sports Xtra account, and then you can have the idea. Yeah. But anyway, that brings us obviously to the end of this one. We'll allow the debate to continue with you, of course, within our comment section. But when we come back in the next break, Manchester is red, and so of course join us on the other side. All right, so this is what we decided to do. We decided to take it outside, go into the gym, because when Manchester United, people are pained by our victory over Man City. Let's not forget, Manchester United went to Manchester City and beat Manchester City. Chelsea played Manchester City and lost at home to Manchester City. Arsenal played Manchester City and drew with Manchester City. So we have conquered them.
Yeah, it's one of those, it's a fluke. You know where you belong. You know where you belong. Listen, if Manchester was on the up, it'll be a mystery how Ruben has done it, because okay, Arsenal we drew with Manchester City, but you guys, you're there for the taking, and we took the 3 points. And then next week you say you're that good. No. I think we handed Ruben his first defeat, right? Yes. Baptized him. This is the rule. Of football. He did it before he left at Porto. Yeah. And when he came, it was the same Arsenal we played and lost 5-2. It's still the same thing. Yeah.
But all right, so let's quickly look at the derby. A lot of eyes were on it, mainly because both of the sides are not in the best of shape at all. Yeah. Others, in fact, I even personally called it El Resurrection. But whoever Achamuka maybe might be able to go on a decent run and things like that. But your general assessment, looking at the way that things panned out on that particular day, is it Pep Guardiola might be losing his touch, might be losing the dressing room, might be losing the players, or has lost quality because maybe they've dominated for such a long period of time, and maybe the players are not necessarily motivated to do week in, week out. What exactly do you think transpired to give Man United the win?
First of all, it wasn't the best of games to watch.
Yes.
It was a hard watch. It wasn't the best game of football. People had to enjoy watching. It was loyalty, and for some of us it was curiosity. Okay, like what will happen? Yeah. But to be frank, it come to an end. Manchester era came to an end. Liverpool era came to an end. Arsenal's never had an era. Manchester City. It happens. My take is it happens. It's not that his powers are waning or anything. This is that it has come to an end.
But actually, 11 games, 1 win, 2 draws, 8 losses so far.
Yes. Yes. That's it. He's been losing in every competition he's played. In every competition.
He says, like I don't know what to do. I say, maybe I'm not good enough.
Listen, let's not look at him that way. Let's look at the fact that he's had a system that's made him the winner 6 seasons in a row. 7th season it failed. Simply means, guys, you've woken up, you know how to sing it. You know what? Even not wanting to be blasphemous, God took a rest on the 7th day. The system is failing in the 7th day.
Well, look, when I look at it as well, my general feeling around it was, I would feel it was actually a tactical decision that he made, which also put him in a bit of a quagmire. Going into the match, unbeknown to me, Pep Guardiola decided to go for a 3-4. It was a 3-4-2-1, and I was like, I've never seen Pep Guardiola play a back 3 really before. I know he tends to go for a 4-3-3 going forward. If at all, maybe he wants to be a bit more defensive, he can go for a 4-2-3-1. I've seen him do that. But for him to have then changed to a back three was a little bit surprising for me. And then when you look at it, they took the lead through Josko Vadio and still dominated play, because Manchester United never looked like scoring. To be honest, I'm a Man United fan. We just never looked like scoring as the match continued to wear on. And as we got into the 80th minute, I was almost resigned to the fact that it was going to end as a 1-0, you know. But then he went on and he made a substitution, which I thought was key. When he removed Kevin De Bruyne and put in Mateo Kovacic, what he did is he slowed down his midfield and removed the threat that most Man United players would not have wanted to face, which was the likelihood of a Kevin De Bruyne through pass to Haaland or a Kevin De Bruyne through pass to a Foden or whoever. Because we had seen a few sparks of that actually happening through the match, where they would just play a neat 1-2 and actually quickly penetrate the Man United defense. But they took out, I felt, which was the centerpiece. Yes, Rodri is missing, but a Kevin De Bruyne is a dangerous ploy. Whether you're playing whatever team, everybody wants to mark out Kevin De Bruyne to make sure that there's no ball supply. I felt that was where the tactical issue was. And to be fair, Amad Diallo played his heart out, his skin out. He got the penalty that Bruno Fernandes converted, and he scored
the last goal.
Arguably, he was the man of the match.
Okay, here's my take on the game. First of all, Man City were never that much of. They had the ball, yes, but most of the game was played just in front of Manchester United's D. Yeah, they never attacked. Their goal was a corner. Yeah, that was a good header anyway from Vadio. The play was being spread out wide, and the center, the 18 area was shut down. Doku had a lovely day with Mazraoui.
Oh yeah, he did buy him a couple of times.
Yes, he made it fun to watch. Those good moments. But the game was never putting the keepers to the test. There was not much of a test from the keepers. Phil Foden shot from outside the box. No, that was the common theme. Shots from outside the box. They scored, then they kept playing their game. When it got to a point where it felt, okay, our game is stagnant. Let me shut it down. Let me remove the attacking player and put in Kovacic
to try and lock it down.
Back in the bus. Unfortunately, forgot to pull up a handle. Rolled off. Just went off the cliff. It just happened. It wasn't anything spectacular. It was the midfield somewhat going to sleep on at the wrong moments. The penalty that was given away, that was smart. You saw the defender coming, simply shifted the ball to the outside foot and he gave him the leg to take. Actually gave him his foot and he took it with him. Simple. It was smart. So his goal, that was a defensive slap.
Laps one.
That was and if I was Guardiola, I would be fuming at the players, but his tactics are, I think maybe they're getting stale.
Might be getting stale. But let's talk about one more piece of this whole thing, and obviously just quickly then give a rundown of what you can expect and what is coming up as the week progresses. You've got Marcus Rashford right now, who was left out of that side for the derby, alongside Alejandro Garnacho, and Alejandro Garnacho is the only one who might just be grinning after all, having won the FIFA Puskás award for the best goal, for that period. But Marcus Rashford now saying, I'm ready for a new challenge. I'm ready to move forward. Is this emotions now playing, or is this a bold statement he can make confidently, knowing that suitors can come?
As a matter of fact, Rashford hasn't had much game time. He's been starved of game time under Ten Hag. They had their issues. So looking at a new coach coming in, might not be the same story, but I think he was fed up a long time ago. He wanted to leave. He's been wanting to leave for the longest.
All right, but in all fairness, 350k is his salary at the moment. With his current poor performances, whether he was trying to show attitude and whatever, with his current poor, would Arsenal want him?
Yeah, Arsenal would want him. Not a striker, he could play half a cent.
Yeah,
and Jesus will need like 30 chances to score, or maybe to trouble the keeper at least. But yeah,
you know, and Arsenal, who would want him?
As a matter of fact, there's a lot of new money in the EPL. Newcastle has money.
Fair enough.
He can go to Newcastle and make something of himself.
But he might need to take a pay cut.
You might not need to take a pay cut. These guys are money. The money is
they're loaded. But 350k for a player who's playing this bad.
They know what to do with him. He's just in a bad space. We know his quality.
Yeah.
On a good day, we know
what he.
You won the last game. You won 4-2, right? Yeah. He scored 2 goals. Then the next game he's put on he's not part of the team. We know his quality. If you're looking on the outside, Marcus Rashford is a threat on any day.
Yeah.
And prior to that, Ten Hag wasn't using him effectively. Him going to any other club, if they can find a good coach to work with him, he is still England national team material.
Yeah, agreed. Fair enough.
So I think basically that's it. He's still good enough.
Alright, I'm still iffy, but anyway, that's me speaking as a Man United.
By the way, we're still on the 2 players you mentioned. Garnacho.
Yeah,
Garnacho selling out the coach.
Jeez. I feel for Garnacho, it's a bit more of an acting up. And Garnacho has actually had a couple of spats, even during Ten Hag. There was a time when he liked, was it a particular Liverpool post or something? I mean, that's totally way off the chart. You can't do that. But once again, these are youngsters that are coming through the setup, and it tells you a whole lot of rot through the entire system that is set in, which has affected the way that players ultimately conduct themselves. So I think at the end of the day, maybe it's just a bit of working on the attitude and things like that, and setting up the dressing room culture, which I think Ruben Amorim is doing reasonably well so far.
Because he's only been there for 3 weeks.
No.
Time.
But he's doing well enough to say, this is what I want, and this is what I will not tolerate. You know, I tolerate, even Kanauchinzi, you're not necessarily the best, but you're giving 100%. You know, that's exactly what he wants. And sadly, Garnacho and Rashford have not done that in the last 3-4 weeks. They just haven't shown up 120%.
Listen, contracts bind people to the club. But I think some of these guys left this club mentally, emotionally. For a player like Rashford who's come through the youth system, you know, it's not easy to say it's time for me to leave the club that made me. You know, he started there as a young boy, through the youth system, came on board as a 17, 18-year-old. You never saw him. I don't think all those guys see themselves leaving when they're 25, 26. They see themselves playing out their
34,
the best part of their careers. Then they retire maybe to lower league or lower place, lower table team where they can bring their experience
into it.
If you see a young guy saying it's time for me to go, this is maybe it's rhetoric when they all join those clubs. Hey, I've always wanted to be a Manchester United player and whatnot, but these guys are bred at Man United. Them leaving simply means something's wrong.
Within the system, 100%. Well, in any case, that brings us to the end of the show. We could talk all day. We love to talk all day. That's our job. We are the real sports platform, talking everything locally, regionally, and internationally. Well, my name is Ruvimbo Chakureka. This is Ashley. We've been bringing you Sports Extra. Don't forget to like, to share, to comment, to subscribe. We actually decided to take it outside because it was going to be this brutal.
It's going to be hot.
Yeah,
it was going to be hot. Manchester is... Okay, Manchester is on fire. They're not on fire because the blue side is not blue. The red side is coming back here.
We painted it red this weekend. And so, of course, coming up, Manchester United will be playing Tottenham Hotspur tomorrow in the Carabao Cup quarterfinals. And obviously, coming over the weekend, it's going to be a bit of a tough assignment. If I'm correct, they should be either meeting Wolves or Brentford, one of these other tricky, slippery slope sides. And so, it's still a lot of work to do, as Ruben Amorim has said, and of course a lot of work for us to do to bring you the best content ever. But up until next week, cheerio.